What the Flick, everybody? It's our analysis of trailers. Alonzo, Christy, and me. I'm Ben. So this Christmas, Quentin Tarantino giving us a gift. Django Unchained. This is a pretty cool trailer.
It is. It looks very un-Tarantino-y to me in a lot of ways, though. We should probably take a look at it. This is Jamie Foxx, and he is a slave. And he gets freed.
It would appear so, yes.
Well, he's working on it.
No, he's right. He's working on it. He's hired. He works for Christoph Waltz as a bounty hunter.
Why not take a look at the trailer?
Take a look
Here's
at the trailer.
what you're going to see in the trailer.
Stop.
It opens.
There ain't no grave can hold my body down. There ain't no grave can hold my body down.
Good cold evening, gentlemen. Amongst your inventory, I've been led to believe is a specimen I'm keen to acquire.
When I hear that trumpet sound,
What's your name?
I'm gonna rise right out of the ground.
Django. Then you're exactly the one I'm looking for.
Hey, stop talking to him.
Calm down. I'm simply a customer trying to conduct a transaction.
Last chance, fancy pants.
Oh, very well.
Do you know what a bounty hunter is? You kill people, and they give you a reward.
Better they are, bigger the reward.
I need your help. I'm looking for the Brittle brothers. However, I don't know what they look like, but you do. Don't you? They caught my wife, and they sold her, but I don't know who to. That means we visit every plantation until we find them.
Once a final Brittle brother lies dead in the dust, I agree to give you your freedom.
And I'll take you to rescue your wife. Where are we going?
Gentlemen, you had my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
How do you like the bounty hunting business? Kill white folks and they pay you for it? What's not to like? I like the way you die, boy.
He is a rambunctious sword, ain't he?
What's your name?
Django.
The D is silent.
It's funny. I was talking to somebody about this, and I said, well, of course, there's a 20th century R&B song in a movie about 19th century slavery. I said, oh, that's just for the ad. I said, no, this is a Quentin Tarantino movie. Of course, it's going to be in the movie. Like there will be at least a dozen, like big juicy anachronisms, that have to do with 70s grindhouse cinema, just because that's how he rolls.
Why didn't you think it looked like a Tarantino trailer?
It looks like a much more straightforward Western and not quite so hyper-stylized and show-offy as a lot of Tarantino films are.
Yeah, there are a couple of moments. There's like 12 seconds where you're like, oh, that's Tarantino.
Which part? Bless you.
Why didn't you think we're doing that whole thing again?
No, I like to keep the sneeze in.
Yeah, you with
There's
your
nothing
keeping this.
hanging out of your nose.
All right, thank you. I guess that there was some cutting there, and also the music, no question,
Right.
tells you that it's Tarantino.
Right.
But there were just a couple of quick shots back and forth in that moment. Our first introduction to Leo.
Where they just push in on him.
Yeah, there's pushing him, and I think he gives a little wave there. But then we don't see him again for 40 seconds in the trailer.
And the thing is, people think about the classic Western, John Ford, blah blah blah. There's also the whole spaghetti Western. There's the blaxploitation Western. This movie's actually, I think, borrowing a lot from a Fred Williamson movie whose complete title I do not feel comfortable saying as a white person. The first word is boss. The second word starts with an N, and I think there's definitely some. He's going to be borrowing some plot elements from that because that's. That seems like the kind of film that would have been an influence on him. There was a whole series of Django films, that name, but I suspect there's going to be about as much connection there as there was between the old movie called *Inglourious Bastards* and the Tarantino one, which mainly just shared the title. So I think he's going to be playing with a lot of conventions from the Western, but from all the kinds of Westerns that there are, and especially the sort of 60s, 70s Sergio Leone and all the people kind of copying him that were probably influential for QT.
It just looks like it was shot and edited in a much more straightforward and less like hyper stylistic way than something like a Kill Bill or something like, you know, that's why I compare it. And
But
say
doesn't
it's
it seem?
different to me,
Doesn't
too.
it seem? It seems a little Inglourious Bastards like, though. I mean, if
Because
that-
you have Christoph Waltz in it.
well, you have Christoph Waltz in it, but I mean that didn't seem to me to be in the same vein, from a editing and look point of view as every other Tarantino movie.
I like the idea though of Leo being a bad guy because
Yeah.
I was racking my brain. Like, is there ever a time where he has played a straight up villain?
But a charming villain, of course.
I mean, he's sort of in, what was that, The Quick and the Dead, maybe, a little? I don't know, it's been so long since I've seen it, I don't really remember.
He's not a villain, but he's a charming criminal in Catch Me If
I
You
think
Can.
part of why it also doesn't seem as much like Tarantino is the same reason why, for me, Inglourious Basterds didn't seem like it, because it's such a specific genre. I mean, that the first thing you think is, we thought, that's a Western. And therefore you think that's a more traditional Western. Oh, it's Tarantino doing a Western. And the same thing where Inglourious Basterds, and you're in a World War II movie, and it's a war movie, and it seems different. Whereas Kill Bill, the others are, those were, he created that whole environment. Whereas this, you're taking the Tarantino style and putting it in a specific
Well,
place.
I've always thought that Tarantino was sort of doing like his own kind of greatest hits covers, of martial arts movies or of, crime movies or whatever.
Exploitation movies.
Yeah, exactly. He's kind of picking out the bits that he likes and restaging them. And if you know those movies, you're like, oh, he's doing the part from blah, blah, blah. And if you don't, it's like, wow, this is so fresh and exciting. But either way, it works, And so I think this one, it's going to, like I said, he's going to be doing sort of the seamier side of the Western alley, but there's plenty of stuff to go from there. So is this the first film since the death of his usual editor, Sally Menkes?
I think so, yeah, right, it's got to be. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if that makes a difference in working with a different cutter.
I'm going to make you uncomfortable now as we finish this up, because you mentioned the Fred Williamson movie. So I went and looked it up, The Boss.
Yeah.
So I looked up the director. There's a guy named Jack Arnold.
Okay.
And so I was like, oh, who's this Jack Arnold? And it's funny because this is a guy who directs a movie.
Wait, The Incredible Shrinking Man, Jack Arnold?
Incredible Shrinking Man, Jack Arnold. Nice
Very
job.
good.
So, but the main things that come up for him are 8 episodes of The Love Boat,
Yes.
an episode of The Fall Guy, and some Gilligan's Island, which is
Man's
not.
got to
I was
work.
gonna say, man's got to eat, right?
That's gonna work, but that's not the guy you'd expect to be directing Boss. Well, yeah, but they.
They had journeymen back then.
Yeah, they did.
They were jacks of all trades.
Nice job on that. Incredible Shrinking Man. Well done. Okay, so anyway, I believe it achieves the purpose of a trailer, which is to get people.
We are talking
we're
about
talking about it.
While revealing nothing.
Not
Still.
revealing nothing, and we don't know. Maybe the movie's going to blow. No idea.
Bye. See you at Christmas.